no longer be a part of society, but their principles, philosophies, and achievements will become immortal, spreading from generation to generation. Benjamin Disraeli, as Prime Minister, having served 2 terms and known for his voice in world affairs, said, "The legacy of heroes is the memory of a great name and the inheritance of a great example." The collective stories of San Marino Rotarians and stories of those that came before you have inspired greatness. The greatness of Rotary International, the 4-way test of the things we think, say, and do, and the Rotary Foundation. Our personal story is the greatest legacy that we will leave to our friends, and it is the longest lasting legacy we will leave to our heirs. So on this beautiful day of May 7, 2020, let's give thanks for our many blessings, including those that come in the form of trials, challenges, and tribulations. For it's in these blessings that San Marino Rotarians and Rotarians worldwide will continue to make their mark on the world. It's in these blessings that we are given the opportunity to push ourselves to greatness and to continue to live our Rotary legacy.
Thank you.
Amen. Thank you, Governor Liu. We appreciate that. We appreciate you having the time to spend with us today. I'm gonna go ahead and mute everybody for now, and then there we go. And then if we have any guests here, besides the ones that are with our speaker, we do have our speakers here. Is it Chiyomi and your daughter Donna? Okay, welcome. Thank you for joining us. And I believe that's all we have for guests. We do have Annie Broussard here. Hi, Annie. Annie, I'll go ahead and unmute you. I know you have a couple of announcements, and I've got, you can go ahead and unmute yourself, actually. There you go.
Can everybody hear me?
Yeah, Annie, I'll put up the,
Okay.
which slide do you want up first?
So I'd like to share my screen. We have, this Sunday, everybody know we have the Mother's Day, Sunday all day Mother's Day. I hope everybody's been prepared for the Mother's Day. But we also have a community event. I'd like to share with you, if Greg allow me to bring the slide up. Can everybody see this one?
There you go.
Okay, let me.
Yes.
Okay, this is the flyer. We are doing the fashion show contest Zoom party, face mask Zoom party from 2:30 Sunday afternoon for 30 minutes. Mainly we wanted to bring everybody together to lift each other and to say hello, because simply we just can't see everybody. It's a community event, free for everybody to join. This will be followed by a short but a spectacular. Okay, got it. I had to okay. We have the Mother's Day concert performed by many outstanding and award-winning musicians of East Meets West. They were award-winning. It's a very almost a professional. They are playing at the Hollywood already. So those students put it together a free concert just for 25 minutes right after the fashion Zoom party. So we're doing that, and altogether it's about just less than an hour. So just to let you know that this is going to be a fun party. I hope everybody can just sign up to have and join this fun party. To sign up online, so you can just go to our website. Here's our website. You scroll down. It's the computer is slow. You click the new activity here, register through the website, and there's a Google link here. You click. If you see this page, it will pop up this Zoom party, the Mother's Day concert. Is free for everybody. All are welcome. You can be the contestant to do the face mask contest, or just be the audience. Once you submit your the sign up, and then you will receive the Zoom link for Mother's Day to and then join and just see everybody, say hello. And again, I want to show we have okay, where's my website? Okay, so anyway, we will, so I think this is really creative and fun, but you know, we still can see each other, a virtual concert and a Zoom party. I hope everybody can join and enjoy the music and the performing arts. I wanted to share the little preview, but it doesn't pop up my computer right now. So it's only going to be less than an hour. So any questions on that?
Annie, if you could have Paul email the club with the links to sign up, that would be great.
Okay, should I email to Greg? Should I email to you or email to who?
Or you can send it to me, and I can distribute it to the club if you like.
Okay, sure.
Great.
We'll do.
Thank you, Annie.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Everybody.
And happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day to everybody.
Okay, we'll continue with a few more announcements. I know that Debbie Priester wanted to say something. There we go. Debbie, you are unmuted.
Hi there, everybody. Hi there. Well, I've been working with the city and South Pass, Sierra Madre, Rosemead, finding out what's going on about the 4th of July. And our city has decided they are not going to be doing the fireworks. South Pass has canceled their parade. I spoke to Sierra Madre today, and they're in the same boat, saying they're thinking of canceling their parade. And Rosemead has canceled their fireworks. So the decision came about, we will not be doing a parade this year, since the park most likely will not be open on the 4th. So, and there's no fireworks. So I'm sorry to say, guys, we're not going to be doing it.
All right. Well, probably the right call as things are going now, but we'll have something to look forward to next year, even more so.
That's
Thanks,
right.
Debbie. I appreciate all the work you do
Sorry,
on that.
guys.
And happy Mother's Day.
Thank you.
Is
All
Gary
moms
coming
too.
home?
Happy Mother's Day.
All right. Is Gary coming home Sunday?
Gary is home.
All right, good.
No, Gary's home.
Good.
Been home for
Okay.
5 weeks, and I love it.
All right, enjoy.
Thanks.
All right, I'm going to turn it over to Stephanie Johnson, who I believe has 1 or 2 announcements.
Well, I have one announcement, and I'll keep it short. I think all of you are familiar with Community First, that does ongoing support for rural Cambodia. And I have started for Community First, a fundraising page directly related to the COVID-19 virus. And, you know, I know that everyone's making sacrifices now because of the virus, but so what I'm doing is asking for you to, if you can, forego some of your lunch money, because none of us are going out to lunch now anyway, and maybe give a few dollars to the campaign. I will be sending a link to you to sign on to the page, and I hope that you can support Community First and their assistance to people who are really in very desperate need of assistance. So thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. Just to clarify, Community First is the organization that JP's son Pierre is involved with, correct?
Right, and Rotary International supports various Rotary clubs and support Community First as well.
Yeah, it's a great organization. Okay,
It
thank
is.
you.
Okay.
And I would like to unmute Mr. Bill Payne to talk about our Global Grant Scholars. All right, Bill, you're not unmuted. You can unmute yourself if you see it on your screen. There we go, Bill.
Yeah, just wanted to report to the foundation committee that interviewed her and to the rest of us that Anna Unger was accepted by Rotary International. So she's our umpteenth scholar, and we'll be going to Sciences Po in Paris. And I wanted to give a shout out to District Governor Liu I've never seen a district governor in the years that we work with district governors to gain their approval and support of this program has really, I think, gone above and beyond. I know at the end of the year, Rotary, each Rotary district has its own awards, and it comes down from the top to the bottom. I would hope as a club we would be giving District Governor Liu our award and appreciation for all the support for scholars this year, a big feather in her cap. She supports us by publicity for all the clubs who have supported scholars this year in the district newsletter. We couldn't have asked more. She's always available. A big shout out. Thank you.
Thank you, Lou. Thank you, Bill. And in our the district highlights email that just went out, there were spotlights for Bill's work in the way of short articles about Anna and also, was it Galen?
Yep.
Yeah. So thank you both very much. Okay, JP, did you have any updates on international?
A quick one. As you know, we are nearing the end of the Rotary year, so we need to tally up the situation for the several international projects we have. So I'm going to schedule a committee meeting for the committee members. We're going to review each of those projects, and after that, I'll be able to get back to you, Luan, and give you an update on those final global grant, which is not quite close. So I know the deadline is May 15th, so we'll be there in time with you.
And
Thanks.
because the
Thank you.
projects are done, you can extend that May 15. The May 15 was more for the clubs that had not yet advised the district as to whether they were going to be able to complete their projects yet. So if you need a couple more weeks, we can do that. We just need to report to RI by June 1.
Okay, all right,
Great.
thank you.
Thanks. Thank you, JP. Do we have any other announcements?
Yes, one more.
Yes.
Just in case you didn't read the chat, RH Star is in its 5th year, and we'll have a happy hour planning meeting, bring your own bee or tea, on Tuesday night at 5:30. If you'd like an invitation, just email me or let me know in the chat right now, and I'll send out a Zoom invite to you. There are a lot of people who are doing great work during COVID, and we're hoping to honor some of them as part of this. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Denise. I'd like an invitation, please. Okay, any other announcements? Okay. Thank you all very much. I'm going to turn it over to Chief and Contro. Chief, if you're ready. You need a minute. You can unmute yourself. Oh, there you go.
I'm always ready.
Thanks, Chief. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Hope everybody's doing great. I sent a couple of things I want to talk about is the LA County Public Health and LA County's roadmap to recovery. I sent a poster over to Greg on email just as the meeting was starting, so he may not have gotten it yet, but it's kind of a general thing. As you're well aware, and hopefully you've been reading some of this stuff, we are looking forward to some minor changes in the Safer at Home public health order. What's important to understand is the federal government will put together some guidelines. It goes to the state. The state, through the governor's office, will put out guidelines. And then the counties and those cities that have their own public health officers can either follow those guidelines or make more stringent guidelines. One of the things you may be hearing is, oh yeah, things are opening up. Things are opening up across the country. California is a little bit different. And one of the things to remember is when public health is looking at how, there you go. Thank you very much. What the Department of Public Health is looking at is a couple things have to be there to be in place as we open more businesses up, as we open up more opportunities to congregate, and as we eventually move forward to having schools back in session. They want to make sure there's enough beds available in the hospitals? Are there enough ventilators if they're needed? And are there enough ICU beds? And that's all for people who are not experiencing the virus, the COVID-19 virus. People, we all have family and friends that have to undergo surgery. They may have cancer. They may have some other significant health problems, but because of COVID, they haven't been able to get into the hospital. So they're looking to make sure that the hospitals, healthcare systems can handle the capacity. They want to make sure that those that are most at risk in the congregate living facilities or nursing homes, those kind of facilities, homeless, those that don't have the opportunities to get good health care, have some kind of protection and support. They want to make sure that we can provide tests, and there's enough tests. And then there's enough opportunities for people to isolate themselves if they are exposed to someone with the virus. And then the other thing is trace capabilities. And what that is are we able to follow those people who may have made contact with someone who's either asymptomatic at the moment, meaning they don't show any symptoms, or those that are showing symptoms, and we know where they're at and who they're then contacting. The whole thing is they want to make sure those are all in place, that we have protocols in place, and that we're doing everything we can to lower the risk to everyone from getting this disease, or virus, I'm sorry. So there's 5 stages. One, we're in stage 1 right now. In the afternoon of May 8th, we're going to be in stage 2. And what that's going to do is allow for curbside pickup, not going into stores, but to be able to go to the curb and get the things that you've purchased online. Florists, different retailers, car dealerships, and they're also going to open up golf courses and trails. Trails will be monitored, and to make sure that there is no problem with too many people being on a trail, in a park, things like that. Probably within a short period of time, and don't hold me to any date or time, I don't know, because this stuff changes by the minute. They are looking to open up other businesses, manufacturing, offices, retail. You can read all of this, different healthcare, so that you can start going to the dentist. You can start having other medical treatments or care. Different outdoor recreation locations, something like the Huntington. And we are always, once a week at least, we're talking to people from the Huntington Library and Gardens about when they're going to be able to open up the facility for all of us to enjoy that beautiful place. And that includes museums and things like that. That could be fairly quick. That could be within a week, or that could be much later. Stage 3 is other high-risk businesses. If you want to get a tattoo, you've been craving this new tattoo, you need a massage, or bars and nightclubs, movie theaters, K through 12 schools, and then colleges, universities. One of the problems that people are seeing is if you look at some of the discussion on restaurants, only family members or people living together can sit at the same table. So we're used to meeting friends to have dinner. That won't be possible. So businesses have to come up, restaurants have to come up with ways to ensure safety. You'll probably still have to have a mask. The person serving your food will have a face mask, a face shield, gloves, whole different experience. But for us to get to stage 3, let alone to stage 4, which are larger conventions, sporting events, and then to get to normal, we have to slow down the increase of this virus. And every day I get updates, sometimes multiple times a day, that show we have more people dying, we have more people getting sick. And when people don't use a mask, when people don't take those safety precautions, when you get food that you've taken out, that you don't commingle plates and the containers, that you clean up after yourself, that stuff has not changed. That stuff will not change. And if we fail to do that, then we're going to keep getting sick. And we're going to keep having problems. And our economy is going to keep having problems. And so it's really important. It's you know, for instance, here, there's a lot of talk about having graduation in July for all those people that are graduating. We can't do that. We can't put ourselves at risk. We have to follow the rules. I monitor this, like I said, I'm part of the committee that is working this path. The past is president. With the and public health, suitable ways of celebrating graduates and celebrating these events that we have as just human beings. That's what I have on that. I just want to touch on a couple other things. One, crime across the San Gabriel Valley, including the city, is going up. We are having a lot of problems with thefts from vehicles. Folks, lock your cars, take your valuables out of it. My larcenies, which are package thefts and thefts from vehicles, have gone up nearly 50% since this time last year. And it's because people living in town, visiting town, you're not locking your cars, you're not taking your valuables out. You got to do that for me. Our burglaries have increased quite a bit. Commercial burglaries. So those of you that own businesses, make sure you're using alarms. Make sure you're securing your property. You're leaving lights on. You're doing those kind of simple things. If you're going to be away for a while, let us know. We're still doing those things. The other issue is auto thefts. Auto thefts have increased 50% here in town. They've gone up all over LA County. The chiefs and I talk about that once a week, what's going on with crime. Two areas that are very disturbing to all the chiefs, and should be a disturbance or something that's troubling to everybody, is we're not getting any calls for service on domestic violence, and we're not getting calls on child abuse. One of the things with child abuse, we have mandated reporters at the schools. We don't have that. We also have mandated reporters for healthcare, where doctors and nurses who, when we bring in our children for routine exams, they see things. We don't have that in place right now. So if you hear something, see something, let us know. Doesn't matter if it's turns out not to be true. Let us know about it. We'll go take a check and make sure everyone is safe. So those things are really important. We need your eyes and ears. We need you to support us. We need to support each other. Our lives have changed. Society can function. We can keep moving forward, but we need to be more cognizant of each other's needs and be good humans. So I need your help on these things. Simple stuff like locking your cars, getting them out. We're making a lot of arrests. If you see people on your yard, going in your backyard, don't ignore it. Don't say, I don't want to get involved, because that happened to us a couple nights ago. Well, we arrested the same guy 2 weeks before. We arrested him last week. We're going to arrest him next week. One of the biggest problems is there is zero bail except for 13 types of felonies. Residential burglary all the way up to murder. But everything else, theft, breaking into cars, it's zero bail. You may have seen something from Glendora. Thank you, Steve, for standing in front of that sign and reminding me. Guy was arrested 3 different times. A vehicle pursuit, a stolen car, stealing property. He was given a ticket, zero bail, and hope it doesn't happen. The state prisons have let out 3,500 people. We've let out 1,200 plus in LA County. And it's for the right reasons, because of the spread of this virus. But the other problem is we don't have things in place, a safety net, to make sure we're monitoring this stuff right now, doing the best we can. The courts are pretty much closed. So if we work together, if you see something suspicious, let us know. The other thing, stay safe. Some of you, like myself, I just turned 63, so I'm an old guy. I have some underlying health conditions, so I try and take as much care as I can, wearing gloves. Wearing my new San Marino PD mask. And I'm very careful when I talk to people and I don't visit people, and I try and limit my exposure. Please do that for us all. And then finally, to the so many residents and businesses here in San Marino who've sent us food, who've sent us masks, who've been supporting the police department, the fire department, and the city, I can't thank you enough. I am honored to work here, and I'm honored to have my children go to school here. And thank you all very much. Sorry if I preached, but can't help it sometimes. Question?
Chief, we appreciate your time, and it puts us at ease, I'm sure, and obviously informs us quite a bit. And happy 63rd. That was just yesterday, right?
Yeah, it was.
Very good. Hopefully you got to celebrate a little bit.
I did. I did.
Good. That car chase you were talking about, that suspect that was arrested 3 times, I was out on the sidewalk. That was just a block away from our place out when he got pulled out of the car.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Scary stuff.
But thank you. Does anybody have questions for Chief? You can unmute yourself if you like. Russ, please.
I got a question. So a lot of people are getting just citations or cited and not booked if they get caught, and that's why they're repeating
Yes.
crimes. Yeah. So and you can't hold them because there's no space.
Right. And, you know, in some regards, you know, we were one of the people we arrested. He didn't have a job. He didn't have another outlet. So you kind of feel sorry for him. But you know what? He's still committing a crime. There's other services. There's a lot of things available. And we refer them to those services. But in general, there are just a lot of thieves running around. And like I've always said, is when you secure your homes, when you use your alarms, when you lock your cars, they go to another block. And if all the blocks in San Marino do that, they go somewhere else. I'd love for them to go somewhere else. So,
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions for Chief? Okay, doesn't look like that. Chief, thank you.
welcome.
District Governor Lou, do you have any updates for us? Like Ryla and
I can,
conference, anything?
sure, so quick updates. Ryla, we are waiting for the final information from the California Health Department in terms of, as they roll out this roadmap, what size of meetings will they allow and in what period of time. So once we know that, we'll know if we will cancel the October Ryla. So more on that to come. The other thing is the Budget and Finance Committee approved my proposal to, at the end of year, any unspent funds on the budget will go back to the clubs. So we will determine that in June, towards the end of June. So those will appear as credits on your dues statements. And then just the difference would then be paid for the period covering July 1 through December 31. So look out for those credits to dues. And other than that, we're continuing to move forward, and as are our clubs.
Thank you. Probably not the way you imagined your year to end as district governor.
No,
Or half
not
a
at
year.
all. But I was sad about the district conference, but we are going to be hosting a foundation night and celebration virtually in June. We've got Wayne Brady, who has agreed. He was going to appear at our district conference, and
Nice.
he's agreed that in lieu of appearing at the district conference live, he's agreed to join us virtually. So he'll be doing his act virtually for us, and Terry Crews will still pop out of a cake. So
Wow.
more on that as we get moving forward.
That's incredible. Thank you. Does anybody have questions for Governor Lou? I don't see any hands raised.
Nope.
Okay, thank you so much, and thank you for your time. We appreciate all you're doing. It's probably more hectic than if everything was live, I would imagine, right?
It actually is. I had to activate our past district governor line, which has never been done in our 100-year history, but I had to activate our governor line to help ease some of the things I'm going through. I get about 300 to 400 emails a day, another 50 voicemails, and my text messages fill up like 3 times a day. So The governor line is there to help. The past district governor line is there to help the current governor should they require it. So I activated them a week ago. I'm getting ready to give them their FAQs and club assignments in the next few days.
Great. Good call. Well, thank you. That makes your time with us even more special. Okay, well, that's it for announcements. I know Linda Watt is listening in, and she asked me to shout out for her.
Greg.
Hi, Linda.
Hey.
There you are. Thank you.
Yeah.
You're in front of PCC at the reflection pond.
Yes,
Very nice.
I am.
Looks nice.
Wandering around.
Good. Thank you for helping us with this.
Absolutely.
I will go ahead and, would you like me to put up the PowerPoint, or would you like to
Yeah, why don't you
introduce-
put up the PowerPoint and I'll start to give a little bit of the introduction for our presenters today. So you saw Greg's write-up on the talk, and I want to thank Steve Garrett, who actually brought this presentation to Bill Payne, because he met Chiyomi and Donna, and Bill and Steve knew, they were aware that I knew the family, and so asked me to help coordinate and participate. So ready for the PowerPoint?
I am now.
Okay, great.
I was.
Well, okay, let me just talk a little bit. So you'll see a picture of the Ogawa family. So Chiyomi Ogawa is 97 years young. She's joining us today. And she is the original bride of the film that recounts how she found love during her incarceration in Manzanar during World War II. And she is joined by her daughter, Donna Jean Ogawa, who is who has been actively engaged in various Japanese American community activities, including helping to get the dancers or dancer exhibits during the Tanabata Festival. And many of you who have attended the Pasadena Rotary may remember Wendy Anderson, who is Pasadena Rotary's administrative support, and Donna, and she and Donna are cousins. I also want to introduce Steve Nagano and his wife Patty, also good friends of mine. So Steve is a former, this is the Ogawa family that you're seeing, and the wedding dress that we'll be talking about. And it was exhibited at the Pasadena Museum of History. Okay, next slide, Greg. And this is Steve and Patti Nagano. So Steve is a former computer teacher, and he has shown his film shorts annually in the Los Angeles Asian Pacific Film Festival and through various community organizations. So he has worked on 2 California Civil Liberties public education program grants, and produced the Stand Up for Justice film as a project, and was the graphics designer for its teacher guide. He also worked on a federally funded Speak Out for Justice project, which preserved and indexed 157 testimonies, 13 DVDs of the 1981 Los Angeles CWRIC hearings. And CWRIC is the Commission on Wartime Relocation and Internment of Civilians. It was a 9-person commission appointed by Congress in 1980. So welcome both Donna and Chiyomi, as well as Steve and Patty. So we're about to see Steve's film that he put together with the Ogawa family. And then you will all be able to ask them lots of questions.
All right, we'll
about
start
their
that right now.
experience.
Or shortly.
Yeah, always technical difficulties. I'm straddling 2 meetings, and they had technical difficulties on the other meeting too. Maybe while you're getting it up, Steve, maybe can you talk a little bit about how you produced the film and, what the genesis was? Steve, can you hear me?
Steve's gonna need to unmute himself. There we go. Thank you, Steve.
Actually, I knew Donna through different activities, and actually somebody sent me a little newspaper article saying, hey, you ought to do a film about this. And then when I looked through the article, I saw Donna's picture, and I said, oh, I know them, and blah, 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 blah. So I called Donna, and then we started making the film. And I originally had thought that 6 couples had gotten married at Manzanar. However, one, Chiyomi, the original bride and the only remaining person of all the marriages alive, had the dress and was married at Manzanar. And some of the photos that you will see of her wedding is done by the renowned photographer Toyo Miyatake, which smuggled in some lenses into the camp, into Manzanar. And he constructed a box camera in camp. And he would take these photos, and somewhere along the line, the superintendent found him out, and of course, it was not something he should be doing. So after he set up the photos, he had a guard push the shutter button for some of these photos. I'm not sure if Chiyomi's wedding pictures were taken that way, but nonetheless, Toyo Miyatake also has a book out together, a joint book with Ansel Adams. Because Ansel Adams was, he came into Manzanar and he shot a book called Born Free. And supposedly everyone at Manzanar was given one of these books, and it came out with at least a second publishing recently. So Ansel Adams was commissioned by the government, as well as Dorothea Lange, Clem Albers, to document what was happening. And it's kind of interesting because in the case of Ansel Adams, all his pictures were scripted.
Steve, I think the video may be ready, so anytime, yeah, so if you want to wrap up and then we can go ahead and start the video.
Yes, so Ansel Adams' photos were all staged, and he was not allowed to show certain pictures, such as the guard towers or guards, anything like that. And of course, Dorothea Lange, which not only I don't think she did Manzanar, but she did the camps. She shot what she felt she should shoot, and of course, a lot of her photos got impounded and never to be shown to the public until much later on. So you can go to the Library of Congress and you can see the photos that she shot of the camps. Okay.
Great.
Go for it.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, we'll go ahead. We got a almost 8-minute video for everyone to enjoy, and then we'll stop after for some Q&A.
It was in a suitcase.
What? Wait a minute. What? We were really amazed.
Because I found the dress. I was mesmerized by it.
And she said, oh my God. My mother said, your mother wore the dress, Auntie Chiki wore the dress, Auntie Hasi wore the dress.
I had no idea. I had seen all these pictures before of my aunts wearing the wedding dress, not realizing all of them wore the same dress.
And that's when we realized kind of a legacy, I guess, kind of a history of this wedding dress. And it dates back to the internment camp.
At Long Beach Aquarium, we showed our wedding gown.
And she drew quite a crowd.
And the people were so interested. And they all thanked me. All the women came and hugged me. I couldn't believe it. The man came and shook hands with me, saying thank you for showing all the stuff, and asked me about the Manzanar. And it really was interesting.
People didn't know about this part of history?
I used to live in Terminal Island. My mother lived in Terminal Island, and my husband same lived in Terminal Island. And when I was 8 or 9, went to Japan. And when I graduate, my parents, the whole family came after me. Decided we were gonna go back to the United States. And they said, you're not leaving because 2 other boats is coming back. One went to Hawaii, couldn't get off. People couldn't get off, they had to come back. And another one was okay with Hawaii, but San Francisco, they said no. It wasn't his boat, it was Canary boat, but he was the captain. They said they heard the Pearl Harbor, but they didn't believe it. So they fished until they caught enough fish. And when they came back, the FBI took them right away. They think they're a spy or something, I don't know. So he never came home. And they sent him to somewhere else. 2 or 3 days, notice saying we gotta get out of Terminal Island. But we had no place to go. Compton, Japanese church, took so many family. So that's where we went. Each one suitcase. And we went to Manzanar. And we got there, they gave us a bag. They put that straw in, all the bug and everything, you know. Straw in, that was our mattress. Our house was back to back. So I met him before.
So was it love at first sight?
I guess that had to be, yeah. Because I never felt like that, you know. We went to see a movie, or go dancing. We went for a walk. That's about it. That's all you could do.
So did your husband go and ask your mother and father for your hand?
My mother said, are you sure? Because he's a stubborn man. You can see that.
Yeah, because you were, love is blind.
Yeah. He's a good family man. Naturally, I was happy to have a wedding gown that, you know, made by my auntie. It was nice that, you know, they wanted to wear my wedding gown.
6 women wore it. The veil you see is borrowed. The flowers I didn't know are fake. They all look a little different. It's because they all had a different veil. I had no idea. I had seen all these pictures before of my aunts wearing the wedding dress, not realizing all of them wore the same dress.
But then we had to fix it. Each one. Let it out, put it in, let it out. Oh, gosh. Because they have no money. They're young, just getting married and came out of the camp. They have no money. Like us too, we didn't have any money. They couldn't afford to buy a wedding gown. So that's the only reason, probably. They're all dead. I'm the only live one.
For them to think they got married in a camp with barbed wires kind of boggled their brains, because to think that somebody found love, you know, in those kind of circumstances and actually got married to them was amazing. It's the spirit of surviving that kind of situation or making good out of something that's not good.
And especially at the time of what they endured, you know, and still were able to fall in love and make a life.
They had nothing, and they basically had to come back and rebuild from there.
There's a lot of history behind that dress, and I'm very moved and emotionally very taken about it.
about my mother in a special way and the connection together with the other ones who wore the dress.
We're all bonded by that dress, which is kind of unique.
What authority do you really have to take an American citizen and incarcerate them? But they survived, they put it behind them, and they moved forward. That's the most important part, they moved forward.
Talk to them, then they stop, they want to hear more about it. Next thing you know, talking about Manzanar, because they don't know anything about Manzanar. It was really interesting. Then all the women had hugged me. Can you imagine? I'm surprised, my wedding gown getting so much attention. I can't believe.
All right, that was absolutely beautiful. Thank you very much. I'm going to unmute Steve. Uh-oh.
Okay.
Sorry, guys. That's the next YouTube video. Here we go. All right, thank you so much for sharing. That was incredible. Steve, very well done. It's a beautiful video. I'd like to open it up. Linda, can we do some Q&A?
Yeah, we should do some Q&A. And did we introduce Donna and Chiyomi? Did they get to Donna?
I was going to let you do that.
Oh,
we did say hi.
All right. Well, why don't we bring in Donna and Chiyomi first, so that Chiyomi can. I know she's anxious to talk about her experience. So Donna, you want to come on with your mom? Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Huh?
So Chiyomi, yeah, you want to talk a little bit about your experience and now seeing the film again, and has it been passed down to other generations?
Well, we still have the dress, but it doesn't fit anyone. She had a 21.5-inch waist. So they were very tiny back then in Japan. But do you want to say anything? She's kind of shy too.
Yeah. Okay. So seeing the film again, does it recount any other memories for you of the camp, your experience in the camp?
Watching the film, does it remind you of anything else at the camp?
Huh?
I don't think she quite understands.
Yeah, that's okay. Is there anything you want to say, Donna? And we'll let Steve talk about how he did the film and his...
Happy Asian American Pacific Islander month, I guess. And thank you.
APAM month.
For Steve Garrett and Linda and Steve and Patty for having us and on here. Having my mom.
Good to see you and your mom. And yeah, your mom looks great. Stay healthy. Yeah. Okay, so why don't we go to...
I'm sorry.
That's right. 96 years young. All right, Steve, why don't you, I know you have a lot to say, and you did a lot of work on getting the information for this film.
I feel very fortunate that I was able to, make the film. And, I think anything that I want to do in my retirement, whatever project I do, I want to feel good about the people that I do it with. And this particular family, has been a wonderful experience, not only just meeting Chiyomi and Donna, but the whole family. We celebrated her 90th birthday together. So that's...
And you made her famous.
That's what she says. I would just like to add a little footnote that, just some information. The average age of the Nisei, which were the second generation American-born children, was 19 years old when they went into the concentration camps in 1942. So that's sort of like the prime time for, looking for a mate and things like that. So at Manzanar, I believe there was about 180 marriages out of a 10,000. I don't know what the normal per capita marriages are per 10,000, but anyway, it seemed like 180 seems like quite high. And I think besides 6 women wearing the wedding gown. What's unique about it is that very, very few of the brides that got married had a wedding gown. The ones, my mother was married in Poston. I met other ones that were married in different camps, and none of them wore a gown. They all wore dresses. And an interesting thing in making this film, besides meeting the family, was that I found out by looking at their wedding books that my father, who was a minister in camp as well as in Los Angeles, performed 2 of the weddings. So that was very interesting that, you know, especially, I think it was Wendy's parents were married by my father. So we were flipping through the book and it was like, hey, look what we found. So making the film has been a wonderful experience, and sort of reliving it and getting to see just a wonderful story. And it's interesting how Chiyomi has shown that film different places. Santa Anita racetrack, which was an assembly center, showed it for an event. And the bridal, I don't know what you call them, parties or get-togethers that she's shown the film and talked about it, has really made the dress a vehicle to share with people about what happened to the Japanese Americans in 1942 that perhaps they would have never even heard of or would know of. So I think, to me, that's like a real nice outcome of the film. It gets people that don't know anything about camp to learn about it through Chiyomi and through the wedding dress.
Yeah, I see quite a few comments from the Rotarians talking about, you know, what a touching story this was. And, but as you said, you know, it was a hardship for the Japanese Americans. Civilians were being put in concentration camps because of their race. So was there anything else that you want to talk about, or should we open it up to other questions from the Rotarians?
I'm open to questions.
Okay, are there any questions from the Rotarians?
Feel free to unmute yourself. Okay.
This is extremely enlightening.
Oh, James isn't on here. That's why. Steve, how did you come? You might have mentioned in the film, but how did you come across this story in the first place?
I had a friend send me a clipping.
A newspaper clipping?
Hey, this is an interesting story. You got to do a film about it.
That's great.
And then when I read through the article and I saw Donna's picture, I said, oh yeah, I've got to do a film about this.
Yeah, so Steve, you may not know this, but there's a little bit of Japanese American history in San Marino also with one of our Rotarians. So Ken Baranda, who is, his father started the Southwestern Academy just down the street, which was a military international school. And when the government wanted to take his Japanese students out and send them and take them into internment and confinement, Ken Baranda's dad stood up for them and refused to let them go unless they took him also, because he said he was an immigrant. So anyway, that's also a great story for the Japanese Americans to know. Was there anything in your civil liberties studies that you wanted to talk about also that might be connected to this, that you might have found out?
Well, I think, you know, I'm sure a lot of us, like Donna can probably attest to this too, that growing up, you know, our parents never talked about it. Very rare. It's very rare that you find a family in which they shared about what happened to them in camp, or even for that matter, that camp happened. You know, when I was a kid, I was kind of jealous of my folks, because the first thing they would do when they met or came across somebody, the first question they would ask would be, what camp were you in? And as a child, I thought, whoa, these guys were lucky. They get to go to camp. They, you know, there's some like summer camp. So I think more than anything, the testimonies, there were like 10 sites across the nation. There's about 750 that testified. And in Los Angeles, there was about 153 that testified. And I'm privy to the 23 hours of the testimonies in which I worked on. But I think one of the things that first of all, about not talking about it, the shame that came along with it. Even the testimonies were in 1980, 1981. Even to that point, very few people talked about it. And so several of the people who did testify and analogize the camp experience to either child abuse and or rape. And people who are victims of those situations, usually don't go around broadcasting it, talking about it. So it became, clearer to me as to why our parents and the older generation rarely talked about it. And I think the commission, the hearings, I think it basically took a monkey off their back. It made it like, okay, to talk about it. And even more so in 1988, the passage of the Civil Liberties Act, in which they received an apology and a $20,000 reparation check, $20,000 reparation check. So even though the money was, in many cases, the pride, we don't need it, and many of the people donated it to various organizations, the apology from the president seemed to really make them feel much better, and sort of, like I said, took the monkey off their back.
Great.
I have a question. Would you tell us more about what it was like, the courtship during that time? It must have been quite challenging.
You'd have to ask Chiyomi that question.
Well, I'm asking.
Yeah.
So Donna, do you want to have your mom ask? Do you want to ask your mom?
How did you and Dad date? Did he come over?
Well, we're next to each other.
In Manzanar?
In Manzanar.
Uh-huh.
So.
He asked you out?
He asked me out.
And you went where?
We went dancing and went to see a movie like that.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Thank
That's
you.
all we could do.
And walks.
Lois
It must
Matthews,
have
you have
been
a
quite a
question?
challenge to court during that time.
Well,
All right, you're up, Lois.
Okay. Well, I just have 4 words: courageous, strong, and thank you very much.
Thanks, Lois.
Thank you.
We all agree with you.
I have a question.
Yes, Bill.
Steve Garrett. Is Steve still on?
Steve's here.
I'm here. My recollection of Taro Kawa and Toshi, weren't they both incarcerated at Manzanar?
No, they were at Gila River. And Toshi said it was some of the best years of his life because he was young and in love. But he was only there for 2 years, and then he left to go to Columbia University. You could leave the camps if you went east. You couldn't leave the camps and come back to the west. So he left and went to Columbia University. Just as a little background, my grandfather was involved in building Manzanar, which they started building in July of 1941 as an Army training camp, and they converted it into an internment camp at the end part. And I have a lot of interest in Manzanar because of that, and I've talked to a lot of people like Chiyomi and her son Bob, who's a friend of mine. That's how I met her. Many of them, they felt that it was like, not a bad time, except they weren't where they wanted to be, and they weren't doing what they wanted to do, but they were there. And another comment that Taro mentioned several times. He said that before they went to the camps, they felt very much at risk from the civilian population. A lot of people were attacking the Japanese. He said to a certain extent, they were glad to be someplace where they weren't being attacked by the civilian population. We have a lot of things in our past that we probably will always regret. And 110,000 people went to the internment camps. Probably 1,000 of them were bad people. Maybe 10,000 of them. But that's still an awfully small percentage, either way you look at it. And it was a solution to a government problem that was probably a bad solution. And but it wasn't like a German concentration camp. It was an internment camp. It wasn't pleasant. And everybody I've ever talked to said that they, like Chiyomi, she met her husband there. They dated. They went to dances. They went to school. Her father built a garden there that's still there, the rock garden at Manzanar. And if you're ever driving up 395 and you got an hour's time, stop. It's a National Historic Site. And it's kind of interesting.
Thank you. That is interesting.
Okay, well, I think, is that it?
Any further questions? Okay. Stephen and Chiyomi, we're going to, as we do for all our speakers, we're going to donate a book in your name to our public library, the Crowell Library. And
Thank
we
you.
really appreciate your time and your story and your sacrifice to bring this to us. And it's been a pleasure having you. Andy, we'll do the same thing for your speech last week as well. And Lois Derry, thank you for maintaining that program. We appreciate your efforts there. Okay, if we have any other announcements, I will allow for it.
Can we
Bill
get
Payne?
contact information for Steve?
Yeah, you can get it from Linda.
Yeah,
Okay,
I have it.
If Linda will share that with me, I can send a follow-up email to everybody
Sure.
with links
I can
from
do that.
today as far as our guest announcements and events. And
Just to say one thing,
yes,
his
please.
film, the wedding, 6 Weddings in a Dress, also went to the Asian Film Festival. And then from there to San Diego, and then to Seattle, and then I don't know where else, but the amount of hours Steve put into this project, it's unbelievable that he took all of that and made it 8 minutes, which I believe it was only supposed to be 5 minutes. But thank you, Steve. As my mom said, that you and Patty really made her famous.
Thank you.
Could I ask a question?
You're
of
quite
Steve?
welcome.
Steve,
Yes.
How many films did you produce? Is this a first and only, or is this your passion?
It's his passion.
Become your passion.
It's his passion.
I have quite a few films that are on YouTube that have to do with about the Little Tokyo community and or about camp experience and about individuals that work in Little Tokyo. So if you could you could probably find it on YouTube.
Yeah, I'll share the link for the YouTube video with everybody, and then I think from there they can subscribe to your videos.
Mm-hmm.
Steve, okay, and they'll all be posted there. Great.
What was nice was, most of the stories are about the war, 442nd, 100th Battalion, all about the fighting. So actually he took this story from Manzanar and made it into a love story. So a different spin-off of what happened back then.
Yeah, that's a challenge. Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve and Patty.
Okay, if that's all, thank you all for your time. It was nice seeing all of you. Governor Liu, thank you for being here. Chief, if you're still on here, thank you for all your effort, everything you're doing. And Chiyomi, Donna, Steve, and Patty, thank you for being here. Linda and Steve Garrett, thanks for putting this together. And it's nice seeing all your faces. All right, and we'll see you guys next week. I'll send out an email with some updates from today and a video of our meeting, okay?
Great meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Be
Bye-bye.
safe. Have a good day.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye, Donna. Bye, Chiyomi.
Bye.
Bye.